Hello and thanks for watching my video. Welcome to a new series looking at builds in PvP. Well, it's sort of an update from a series I did a while ago. And this is actually going to be me talking about some of the builds that are going to be viable after the January 26th, 2016 balance patch. Now, for those of you wondering what I'm on now, I'm actually on my Ranger. This is actually how I got the majority of my wins to get to Diamond. So this build is a viable build. Now, what is this particular build involve? It is a condition damage build. And this is me running Ranger, and not only that, I do not use an elite specialization. So this is viable for those of you who do not have Heart of Thorns. It's one of those rare occasions where you've got a Heart of Thorns build, a elite spec that does not need to be run. So let's actually have a look at, first of all, I run short bow, pretty obvious. And I run Axe Torch. Now, this is all about maximizing how much condition damage, because condition damage is pretty prevalent. And not only that, after the changes that are coming into certain skills, particularly to do with Diamond Skin for Elementalists, it is very good and it's going to become even more viable. I would like to say that since Heart of Thorns came out, I did actually do a version of this build about 6 months ago. However, the one change that I will say Heart of Thorns has made is this guy here, the Bristleback of Doom. And this guy can do a ton of damage. Really, he has saved me in a lot of occasions when I've been downed. Using this F2 skill is incredibly strong. But let's get on to that. We'll come back to the pets in a bit. Talked about the weapons quickly. I use Sigil of Battle when I swap to the axe, because I'm constantly swapping weapons. Sigil of Smouldering, it just means the burning lasts a nice extra little bit longer. We also have Sigil of Bursting for the short bow, that extra bleeding and poison damage, and the Sigil of Agony, meaning that the bleeding duration's increased. I run the Carrion Amulet, power, vitality, condition damage. I want that extra bit of health. Power and condition damage is always useful. And I run Rune of the Crate, pretty much to give me that. It's the elite skill, the number 6 there. Bleeding duration is increased by 20%. And you actually inflict bleeding, torment, and poison for 8 seconds to nearby foes when we use Entangle. So that's going to be nice and nice to take that with us. Now, if you actually look at the other condition damage ones you can take, there are a number of ones that you could take. Ones that, if you are looking more burns, then you can take Rune of Balthazar, because you increase the burning duration. You also have the Burning Trap, which means you could, really do some significant damage. You also, when you are struck below 20% health, you actually gain quickness for 5 seconds, or it's a long 90-second cooldown. And not only that, when you use a heal skill, which means this here, you can actually increase burning as well. So the rune is actually interchangeable. I just prefer the Rune of the Crate. It's mainly to do with my short bow skill 1, which actually pierces, and I'll demonstrate, for example, why this is quite useful. If we actually come on over and look at this golem here, and what we're going to do, we're going to attack from the side, and this can actually give a significant amount of damage. So what I'll do, I'll show you the combat log, and just watch the stacks of bleeds that get up on him here. And you can see that it's really going up dramatically quickly. And not only that, it's actually piercing through to do the other golem as well. I've got a huge amount of stacks of bleeding, and that's really, really quick, and he's done. Really, really useful thing to do. So we go back to the build. We've talked about the weapons and the amulet and the rune. Let's look at the traits. So again, you can see I'm not running an elite specialization. That's why it's pretty damn useful to take with you. And what we will see here, so we take Skirmishing. Now, Skirmishing gives us swiftness when we're swapping weapons. This is really useful, because when I'm in combat, then let me show you, for example, over here. If we were in combat with this guy here, with the golem, and you can see it, we actually are. And what we're going to do, we're going to keep bleeding him down, and then what we're going to do, we're going to weapon swap this here, and you'll see there we got swiftness. And that allows us that extra bit of mobility, particularly if you've just killed someone and you want to get to another point pretty damn quick. That is a critical extra bit of boost there to get you from one point to another. We take Trapper's Expertise. Boons and conditions caused by traps last longer, and they recharge. So that's pretty standard, because that's what we're running. We're running a Trapper build. We gain Fury when swapping weapons. Again, that means that if we decide to change weapons mid-combat, we've got that extra chance to crit. Bleeding we causes more dangerous. Now I will point out that this is this has been done pre-balance. This damage increase from hidden barbs is actually going up. It's being increased, meaning bleeding is even more viable. It's going to be more damaging, and that particularly for this build. With not only do I have this spit blade, which does a huge amount of bleeding damage, we have the short bow as well, and we have the spike trap. They all cause bleeding damage. That is going to give me a huge extra boost in damage. In Hunter Tactics, we mean an increased critical chance from the side or behind. And then we have Light on My Feet. Now, a lot of people will be looking at that and going, well, why would you take Light on Your Feet? You could go with Quick Draw, and, you know, you get recharged on that. Or while health is below the threshold, you gain Might. That's a nice one. I take this because this is going to increase our condition damage for a while after dodging, and short bow skills recharge, and our arrows pierce. And this is a terrific skill to take. Light on Your Feet. Then we look at Wilderness Survival. So first off, we increase Endurance Regeneration, which means we can dodge more, meaning that actually works well with Light on Your Feet. We then have Oak Out Stove, gain regeneration when we suffer from bleeding, poison, or burning, and while we have regeneration, we take reduced damage. Now, not only that, our hitting skill actually gives us regeneration as well. If I actually move in and out, that's when I have damage. It's actually one of those skills that is activated when someone's in there. So let's try and do that when we come back and fight the golem again. And that means it's a 5% reduction in damage. You and your pet gain protection when we dodge roll. So again, let's watch this golem here. We'll take him out, and we're going to dodge roll to show you Light on Your Feet and gaining protection. So here we go. We dodge roll, and we've got protection and Light on our feet. Okay, and what we'll do here, we'll activate the trap, and we can kill the enemy here. So we've got protection again and Light on Your Feet. So that you can see there, dodge rolling is pretty important, and our health and our endurance regeneration is actually pretty damn quick. So, Shared Anguish. I'll have to go back and fight Svanir to show you this healing spring. So if I just hover over it, it does say you get regeneration. It heals you and your player, and it cures conditions on allies. So it does remove some conditions. It's really good for condition removal, because that was one of the weaknesses of this build. And it's still, if a multiple amount of conditions, particularly from Reapers, they can take me out. There is some downsides to this particular build. So let's actually have a look at how else we can reduce, reduce condition that applied on us. That will come in later in the build. So Shared Anguish, incoming disables are transferred to your pet instead. So this is Stun, Taunt, Daze, Knockback, Pull, Knockdown, Sink, Float, Fear, or Launch. Now this is a 60-second cooldown, and this is where, if it's active and you're going for a stomp, they will not hit the stomp. And Shared Anguish is really useful because, for example, if you've downed a Necro, the Necro tries to fear you, the pet will get feared instead. And this is really actually coming into I've noticed this quite a lot, so it's quite a good trait to take with you. And you could do, while you're above the health threshold, your strikes inflict poison, while your pet health above the threshold also inflict poison. This is a one you can do. It's a 10-second cooldown, and it is viable to take that instead. However, I want this because it's for the critical, stomping moments, that and the dazes. There's a lot of dazes and sort of interrupts. This is quite useful. And then pets periodically take conditions from you. This is pretty damn crucial because it means that every 10 seconds I lose 3 conditions. Very, very nice indeed. And, I found that Poison Master wasn't too impressive. I didn't feel that it increased the damage enough. Although I do have 2 poison skills attacks, I felt that Empathic Bond was much, much better. Gives you that more survivability. So let's actually have a look. We have the final one, Beastmaster. Your pet is more powerful, and the skills gain recharge reduction, if I can read that right. And let's actually have a look at this. If we actually target and take him to attack, watch the F2 skill, okay? Watch this golem here. Boom, 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 boom. I mean, look at that. Just from the pet attack, he's already lost half of his health. And I mean, that is really, and it's got a really quick cooldown. It's only a 12-second cooldown. So that's really useful to take. Your critical hits grant might to your pet. So if we actually have a look at the pet here, if let's take out the golem, and we'll see here, we'll gain crits, and our pet is actually gaining might for our crits. So there you go. That's nice to take because this means that for all your crits, the Bristle of Doom, as my pet's called, will do even more damage. You'd rather take that than the other ones. While your health is above the threshold, your pet deals more damage. So again, while we're above 90%, your pet deals much more damage to opponents, and your pet swap gains recharge reduction. So that's this skill here. Very, very useful, particularly if you're downed. And this is where some of the other things come into play, because the F2 ability, which is the skill there, that actually means that they'll inflict weakness, meaning they're reduced endurance regeneration, and they can fumble, which means they might not crit. Now, I'll just show you as well, I actually take the wolf, and it's primarily for the fear, because if I'm going to get stumped, the fear, if they don't have stability, will mean that they won't be able to stump me. It means I survive in a fight much longer. I don't have a great sword, and our pet doesn't die too much, so that's why it's not necessary. The pets move faster and deal more damage on crits, which means obviously the more might they give, the more crits that they will do more damage. They might get a chance to crit, and they can do some significant damage. And also your pet taunts foes near them when attacking a command ability. So let's swap over, and let's actually come to this target golem here, and let's press F2. And you'll notice he got taunted, so he's not going to attack me. Really useful again for actually, if you're worried about, enemies attacking us. See there, the crits that we're doing, the actual might really stacked up quite highly. We don't really need the other. You could gain ferocity while wielding an axe, and Winter's Bite is an AoE skill. This is the skill 3 if you take this trait here. So what we'll see here is this is what it looks like now, and if we equip that, it actually it does a blast radius and can be useful. However, I think the F2 skill is pretty more effective, particularly your bristleback, because a 2-second taunt means that the opponent is out of the game pretty much for 2 seconds because they can't use any of their skills. Very, very useful indeed. So we talked about that. Let's actually go and fight let's look at one of the battles against one of the bosses. Let's take on Svanir. Now, the main point of this is if we actually look at the skills that we can do. Now, let's take a look at the poison trap. We've got this poison that's obviously going to mean that the healing's reduced. Same for flame trap, they're going to reduce flaming. And then we've got the spike trap. Now, this is a very, very important trap because this actually is a knockdown. Although it says a launch, it's unblockable, which means you can do that to elementalists, you can do it to mesmers. This is a really important trap, and one thing I do manage to do a lot is actually, if we take on Svanir here, is be able to launch them. So here you go, we'll change pet actually, let's bring them a bit further along. There you go, there's a knockdown, and we'll get the bleed going on him. We'll taunt him with the wolf, and we'll interrupt him as well, and you can see a lot of damage going on here. All this crittling. I'm not even really trying. I didn't even put the flame trap down. So there you go, a significant amount of damage. And that's where this all comes in. If you actually plant the traps down, one thing that's really useful is if you're defending a point and you want to actually, you can put your traps down, let them recharge, and an enemy comes in, hits the traps, boom, boom, boom. They inflict all the conditions. They come onto your point, put the traps down again, and they'll get more and more damage to them. If we actually talk about the skills, we have obviously the one that this crossfire does a lot of bleeding and pierces. We've got the poison volley. We've got the quick shot, which can dodge back, which is good for evasion. This is great if you're following someone and you want to cripple them, the crippling shot. And then again, a concussion shot, very useful against things like engineers, elementalists. Very, very handy indeed. And again, if we look at the other skills we have on our axe torch, the 5 bonfire really does a significant amount of damage. The chilled, very useful against foes because it really does reduce their skill recharge rate. And again, this spit blade really can do a significant amount of damage close range. And I actually am not too bad at taking out the Lord. Now, it really is, if you want to solo the Lord, if you're in that crux position, you can really try and go in. So let's actually try and go in. And this is the solo Lord in a quick amount of time. So here we go, we're going to go in, send in our pet first. We'll dodge the axe attacks, and then we're going to go in, put the bleeding down, the bonfire, we're going to put all the traps down. Yes, I'm skill clicking, and we're going to go B, and then we'll change into the pet, use the F2 skill, but unfortunately cut the clock out. But the Lord is really dying quite quickly here. We'll go swap to our short bow, and we'll interrupt him for this. When he tries to heal, we've interrupted him, and we've put our another traps down, and that's him dead. There we go. Just soloed the Lord. So that is within 20 seconds I've actually soloed the Lord there. And this is where this build is very, very useful because you've got obviously the pet to come in to play as well. And this is very, very handy indeed. You can see there now I've got regeneration. and that means I'm going to be taking less damage. So this is a very, very handy build. It's got me all the way to diamond. Pretty much this is my best build that I have right now. There are weaknesses to it. You know, Condi removal is a struggle at times. If you've got someone that can put a lot of condition damage, it is difficult. Against diamond skin elementalists, it's very, very difficult to actually break it down. The only way I can actually damage them is by getting Bristle of Doom, my bristleback, and actually using his F2 skill when the elementalists don't have their reflecting aura up, and then I can actually damage them below 90% and get the conditions down. Now that is obviously changing, and it means that I'm going to be able to inflict a lot of spike condition damage. And this is where we can actually say, okay, we can do a significant amount of damage. Let's actually go back and take on one of the bosses again, and let me demonstrate if you actually pull them towards you. So what I'm going to do here is put the traps and get them ready, and they are going to come and fight me. So we're going to have, this is going to be the chieftain. So we actually know the chieftain will spawn here. We're going to put down the traps, and we're going to wait for him. As soon as he spawns, we're going to go in, and we're going to use our torch skill 5, and we'll use the shield, and we'll use torch 4, and then we'll use the 2 skill. And so we can do a significant amount of damage. There we go. So now he's spawned. We use the F2 for the actual pet. And again, he's doing significant amount of damage. And so imagine this is a player. He's come along and he's already got all those condition damage and he's dead. Really damn quick. It's really useful. Great for those anticipating surprises. So what I want to demonstrate is, imagine that you have these traps up. You've got all the 3 sets up. And then you're off point defending here. An enemy walking towards you, unsuspecting that you've got the traps there. Boom, they get knocked down. You come in, boom, 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 and you can really do a significant amount of damage. They'll have to use a lot of their skills to actually recover from that initial spike barrage that you've actually put down of conditions, and then you'll be able to really come in. Obviously, now some of the different difficulties would be things like Guardians with their Aegis, or if they're running a shield. But if you're off a point, these traps are very unsuspecting, and it's a very, very useful build to take out. So I hope this has been useful for you guys. Remember that it's going to be, there's nothing really that's being touched apart from the fact it's getting a buff from the actual hidden barbs is being increased after the update. So this has got me all the way to diamond. It's my best build and one of the things that I found playing the most. I enjoy putting the traps around, and you know, it's all about getting this spike of barb trap, of the spike trap, the viper's nest, the flame trap, being able to put a lot of multiple conditions, using the pet's abilities impressively, because the Bristle of Doom has got that ranged ability. The Wolf actually can do a lot of damage as well, and Fear. You've got the Entangle, which does a lot of damage, and Immobilize. It's all really, really crucial. And again, actually, if you have the traps and you immobilize someone on the traps, they're going to take a ton of damage. So it's a very, very useful one to take. For those of you, anyone got any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. Any suggestions? This is there are some variations. I have gone through some of the different traits that you can take, different runes that you can take. This is something that I found works for me, and it's got me to diamond, so it can't be all bad. So please let me know in the comment section below. I hope you guys run this, and I hope you find it useful. So what you're going to see now is me actually have some in-game footage of this particular build. It'll start off something simple, just like me taking out the chieftain. This is in-game. Obviously I've taken the home point and have taken out the beast. You can see the condition damage we're actually doing here. This particular video section will actually just be all in-game footage, so if you're not further interested in that, fair enough. But if you all want to see me in action in some of my PvP stuff, then by all means. So generally it's going to be a lot of action, and you'll see interesting things, and hopefully you'll pick up some tips and just see how I play the overall build. This particular clip's a nice one. It's me actually sort of hiding behind a rock and actually going to be sniping down this necromancer, which generally can be difficult to kill down. But me bleeding when they're behind, you can see the bleeding going up and up and up, doing more and more damage to him, just poking at him, you know, poking away. He goes into his Death Shroud, so we move away, get out of his, Reaper Shroud. We've got my friend coming in, Joe, come out to help out, but he teleports away, but he's already going to be down. What's going to happen here, you'll see the thief come in, but he will make the mistake of attacking again and allowing us to get the stomp. Crucial mistake there by the necromancer. The thief then carries on, but we eventually kill him in a 2v1 situation. This is on Legacy, and you'll see it's a big mid-fight going on, and it's a 2v2 situation now, and I'm going to come in and we're going to focus on the Elementalist because he's been breached below his 90% diamond skin threshold, and we've immobilized him, all those conditions go on him, and he's down. Now the other character is going to come in, the Dragon Hunter. He's going to try and use his traps to his best effect. So we'll heal up, and we're going to come in and we're going to put our traps down, and we're going to burn down the Dragon Hunter. So while he's rezzing, we're going to focus on him. He did manage to get the Elementalist up, but the Dragon Hunter's struggling himself. So although the Elementalist got back up, we may have made a mistake in not actually getting the stomp there, but the Dragon Hunter's now down because we got an extra player that came in, and the Elementalist this time trying to res, but unfortunately can't. What's eventually going to happen, we'll be able to breach his 90% threshold, and we'll be able to burst him down because there's actually 5 of us all at this midpoint now, and he's an easy kill. Okay, so we're still on Legacy, and I'm sneaking around the back to get the decap here. He hasn't noticed me from on high, and what we're going to do, you will notice we're going to put down our traps. There we go, put them all on the same point. We've got a Guardian, Dragon Hunter here, so it's 2v1, we've got the decap. The Guardian's suffering a lot of conditions, and we're able to clean them down. The Druid's not able to healing up. We're going to use the Dragon Hunter, the Bristleback to actually attack the Ranger now. He did manage to get the res pretty decently, but so we're still in a 1v2 situation until our ally came along and he helped us get the kill. So we were 1v2 for a while, and then we actually managed to came back into it and finished both of them off. Really nicely done. Good teamwork. He came in and gave me a big hand. On the same map, actually, straight after that, we actually decided to go Lord. This was just a bit of fun, you know. We were in the far point. We thought, why not? They've got Druid healing, though. So this was going to be a pretty tough Lord push. We had to do something to try and stop that Druid from keep on pressuring that Lord. Fortunately, Johnny is a Dragon Hunter, and I'm with the traps as well. And we're able to burst down the Lord quite significantly, even though he had a bit of resistance on him. But we got the pets. My pets died, so I used the fear on him to interrupt the Lord's heal. Again, he's going on. He's going to heal now. I used the skill 5, the concussion shot. That interrupted his heal, and that got the kill for the Lord. Really nicely done. Very easily done. Nice and efficient there. So we'll move on, and we'll go on to Temple of the Silent Storm. And this is an interesting fight. You'll see that in the bottom of the mini map earlier, I'd already had. This is actually a fight with the Mesmer in this one, and you know, I noticed that the Mesmer might try to go round me to cap height. But this is a good demonstration of this particular build versus a Mesmer. Now the Mesmer obviously has a lot of evasion, a lot of blocks in this particular current state of the game, but he really is getting burst down by these conditions. They're really providing a lot of sustainable damage to the Mesmer, who's really struggling to stay above, you know, certain thresholds, and eventually we'll get another Mesmer to come in and get a stun for me, allowing me to finish him off with the conditions. So although we did have a little bit of helping hand in the end, we would have got him down in the end. And I'll just show you after finishing the rest of the stun, we could have cleaved him down, but we'll just finish him there. And that portal, that I believe belonged to us, so that's why I was just waiting there, just in case they decided to use it. Now this is an interesting one. You notice in the mini-map, there's someone on their far point, so there's one person behind that SPEC person. So rather than go in a 1v2 situation, I'm waiting, and SPEC has moved off the point. That leaves a Revenant there, so the far point is now unoccupied. So I'm going to go past the Revenant and go cap the point. Now what I'm going to do is lay some traps down, because the first one, if you notice by the minimap, has stopped him in his tracks. The second one will actually poison him, and then we'll burn him as well. And so this is actually going to inflict a lot of conditions without even being on the point. So there we go, we'll immobilize, but we've missed it. We've got a lot of conditions. Now he is, as a herald, he's able to absorb a lot of conditions when he goes into his Malik Swarm, but it's still not enough. You see me hit by the Jade Wind. There is another person that's come into this, being followed by my colleague there, and the Revenant's pretty down, and he got cleaved down, and the Necromancer's down. But there's another one, so we're now 2v2. We've got one of them down, the other person's trying to come in, but we managed to interrupt him with the spike trap, and we're going to keep bleeding him down. We've killed that guy, so we're now on the other Necromancer, who has downed me, unfortunately. So he's got a lot of conditions on him. He's got a lot of conditions, and that has actually killed him. So, but unfortunately, my colleague was low on health, and he did get downed in the end. And unfortunately, this is going to be a downside, a bit annoying for us. But I wanted to show you the downstate, because obviously the Ranger downstate is very, very effective. And you'll see I try and fear them away with my wolf, and unfortunately didn't quite work out. So on this occasion, we were just overwhelmed with numbers, and that can happen. But if we come back to this map a little bit later on, you'll see again we're going for the far point. We're actually going to go for stillness because it's 8:30, perfect timing. And then you'll notice that this would be an opportune time to go for tranquility, because we've got the side points done, and we could get the trank. So I dropped down. There's Mesmer just about to give my colleague a little bit of annoyance, although he actually did down the other Guardian there. And so he killed him, and now we're going to be in a 2v1 situation. The Survivors again against the Mesmer, who would be in this situation very, very tricky. But we're able to get a lot of conditions on him and burst him down straight away. He does move away, but that move away puts him behind the pillar. That allows me to get the wrong stomp, but get the commune. I am able to get the commune with tranquility to cap all 3 points with the stillness buff, and that won us the end of the game. You notice there's 2 of them down here. We're going to try and get them down. This is a fun way to just finish them off. If you're running with traps, you'll notice what I do with this. I managed to get a lot of traps on him. There we go. A lot of conditions, and eventually knock him down with my spike trap as well. Well, I didn't actually need to in the end, but we killed him down nice and easy. But now, this situation is interesting. We've got our guy who's down. I'm looking at the top left, noticing his health's going down pretty rapid because of both of the Necromancers. My Guardian ally downed as well. And so we then decide to actually cleave rather than go for the stomp. And I hope just this footage has been interesting for you, as you'll see me again come up against the Mesmer. If you have any comments, feel free to leave them, apart from the fact if you think, I don't care that I'm a skilled clicker, it's just the way I play. And I'm not bad at it, so there we go. I hope you enjoyed it, and feel free to leave any other comments, any suggestions on build, gameplay, etc. But I'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching.